Here we go!
Hey guys, welcome to another self-defense video with me, Nathan Zamora. If you didn't see the last one, click in the link below. There you'll learn the basics of self-defense along with a few moves that can be used. Just a little review of last time. There are three important things that you need to remember that I refer to as the three S's. Surroundings, which is the people and objects around you. Space, which is the distance you have between you and those objects or people. And style, or in other words, people and the way they act. Now on to the actual self-defense. These self-defense techniques are a little bit more advanced than the ones I showed in my last video, but if you watch my last video, you should be able to get it down pretty easily. This first form of self-defense is pretty basic, but it can also be dangerous if not practicing right. Now, whenever somebody's coming at you, trying to choke you, there's multiple ways to get out of this. One of the most basic ones is basically to hit their throat. One way to do this is to hit with the webbing in between your fingers. Split your thumb and the rest of your fingers apart far enough to where the webbing is showing, and then hit them in the throat. Another way could be hitting with the tips of your fingers. A spear. Pick your hand up, hit their throat with the tips of your fingers. This self-defense is pretty basic, but it could also be very dangerous. So whenever practicing this, be sure not to actually hit your partner's throat. This is what it looks like at full speed. This is what it would look like at full power. When practicing or performing this self-defense, there are a few important things you need to remember. First of all, whenever you're practicing this self-defense and you decide to go at full speed like I demonstrated, make sure to aim for your partner's chest. Never hit the throat unless you absolutely need to whenever you're being attacked. When you're practicing, hit the chest. This will not hurt your partner. Another thing to remember is whenever you're performing the self-defense and you decide to attack with the webbing in between your hands, split your thumb and fingers apart as wide as possible and hit the throat with the webbing of your hands. One more thing to remember is when you're hitting the throat with a spear, make sure your fingers are straight and you hit with the fingertips of your fingers. This next form of self-defense is very advanced and if not practiced right can be very dangerous. So whenever somebody's about to attack you, most of the time they're going to come in for punches. What you do in this situation is you push the punches away. Whenever they're punching at you, you're going to push away with the opposite hand. So, for example, if they're punching with the left hand, you're going to push away with the right hand. Same thing, opposite side. Now, this is known as parrying. You keep on doing this, then after a while, once you feel comfortable, and whenever you're ready, you push away, and that same hand, whenever they punch with the opposite hand, is going to come in for a block. Once you block their punch, then you're going to grab their wrist, the same hand that's punching. After you do this, you're going to step in and hit their elbow. Whenever practicing this, do not hit their elbow. It only requires 3 to 4 pounds of pressure in order to break the elbow. So do not hit the elbow when practicing against your partner. After you come in for that elbow, that same hand is going to come in for a chop to the throat, and the same hand is going to grab the back of their head. You're going to come in for a knee. This is what it would look like at full speed. Whenever practicing or performing this self-defense, there are a few important things to remember. One of those things is control. Make sure you always have control of your opponent, especially in this self-defense when you have a hold of your opponent's arm. Second would be cups. Whenever you're pushing away your opponent's hands when they're coming in for punches, make sure your hands make a cup formation. Third would be the elbow. Whenever you're coming in for the elbow, whenever you're practicing this self-defense, do not hit your partner's elbow. Whenever performing this self-defense, and whenever you absolutely need it, then of course you would come in for the elbow. But whenever you're practicing, do not hit your partner's elbow. This third form of self-defense is very advanced and very fast-paced. Whenever somebody's attacking you, they always come in for punches, but another thing they could come in for is hooks. Basically, whenever they're coming in for hooks, you block by picking your elbow up above your head. Whenever you do this, one important thing to remember is basically brush your hair. Brush your hair to where your elbow will come above your head. Another thing to remember is covering your ear. This is very important to remember. So whenever they're coming in, brush your hair to where your elbow is above your head and cover your ear. Same thing, same thing. One more thing that's very important to remember is keeping your arm right next to your head. If your arm is out here and they come in for that hook, your arm is going to hit your head and that's still going to hurt. So make sure whenever you're blocking, your arm comes up and it's right next to your head. After you get comfortable and you're ready, you're going to come in for an uppercut. This is what it would look like at full speed. Whenever performing this self-defense, there are a few important things to remember. One of those things is covering the ear. If you don't cover the ear and they happen to hit it, you could possibly pop your eardrums and that would hurt really bad. Another thing to remember is brushing your hair. Whenever you do this, you pick your elbow up and you get more coverage of your head. The last thing that's important to remember is keeping your hand and arm right next to your head. If you have it farther away from your head and they happen to hit your arm, you're going to hit your head with your arm and that could still hurt. So make sure whenever you're brushing your hair, your arm is right next to your head. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't seen my first video, make sure to click the link below. Be sure to share this with all your friends and family. It would be a big help to me and to them. Once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support you've given and have a Merry Christmas.